We are trying to understand Aristotelian metaphysics and logic in the last days, and now we are moving towards his poetics or his aesthetic theories. So in this class, we will be trying to understand the Aristotelian aesthetic theories, which is discussed in his book called Poetics. His aesthetic theories are discussed in the books of Poetics, Poetics book 8, Rhetorics, and Rhetoric, as we saw, there are 3 books: Rhetoric to Alexander, Rhetoric to Theodotus, and Rhetorics. These are 3 books, and also Poetics. And among them, Poetics is the most important one of them. So we will be looking at Poetics, and we will be trying to understand what Poetics says. There he elaborates his aesthetic theory. And the Poetics deals with drama, and especially epic drama and tragedy. So the book of Poetics especially deals with epic poetry, especially tragedy. When you try to understand more about Poetics, there are 2 parts of the books. There are 2 volumes for the book. The first part deals with tragedy, and the second part is said to deal with comedy. But unfortunately, we don't have the second part of it. Only the first part is extended to us, and I think it was in the library of Alexandria, which was an educational hub for long centuries. For a long time, it was an educational hub of the world. So it was in the library of Alexandria. Some of the later editions of Poetics were found from there, and in some of the later writings of Averroes and some of the Aristotelian philosophers, we found the book of Poetics. So only the first part, which deals with tragedy, is available to us. Tragedy and epic. Tragedy and epic. That first part deals with tragedy and epic. The last part is addressing the questions on comedy. So when you look at Poetics, it is largely devoted to drama, and in that book Aristotle provides both a history of the development of poetry and drama, and also provides a critical framework for evaluating tragic drama. So how to evaluate a tragic drama, how to evaluate it. So there are certain norms and principles that he provides in order that you will be able to evaluate tragic drama. And it is the first systematic essay in literary theory. If you look at the history of literature, it is the first systematic essay in literary theory, and it is full of insights, showing a higher degree of flexibility when we come to the application of the general principles. It is very much flexible. And the aesthetic theory of Aristotle is very, very important. So in order to understand that, I would invite your attention to our national awards. So if you look at the list, you Google and find out the list of national awards, the award-winning films. I am not speaking about the film where it has a commercial color, But when you look at the National Academy Awards, you take the list of the dramas, keeping away the list of past few years. Most of the films that won the award, they are tragedies. If you look at the list, you will find that most of them are tragedies. And comedies are also there in the list, but it is a rare case. It is a rarity to have a comedy, for a comedy to become the best film. Well, most probably in most of the years, when the list of the award is coming, it will be tragedy. And we all agree with that. If you look at the awards, means Oscar awards, which is considered to be the greatest of all the awards among the film industry, Oscar award. Very often the award goes to some tragedies. If you take the list, you will find it. It is very rare that some comedies or some other kinds of genres won the award. Or most of the time, the genre of tragedy, drama wins the award. And we all know how the award is announced usually, especially the Academy Awards, the Oscar Awards. a group of elite people will be there. The people who are working, the prominent people who are in the industry will be invited and special guests will be there. There will be an auditorium and the award will be announced. There will be a list of films which are nominated for the award, and from that list they choose one of them and announce. And nobody stands up and says, no, that is a tragedy, that is there are some other films which made us laugh very much, very funny films were there, more interesting films were there, or in the box office this was a failure, the other one won so many, there can be so many arguments. Financially it was not successful. There are more successful films when you consider it financially. Such arguments are not made. When an award comes, even if it is a tragedy which did not run in the theatre for so long, like some other popular entertainment films, we agree with the fact that that is a better film and that is worthy enough to get the award. That we agree with. Why it is so? Why do you think that it is so? Means most of the time the tragedy is winning the award. Why do you think so? Why do you think that it happens so? Any answer? Do you have any explanation for that? Have you noticed this? When the award is declared, setting aside a past few years, because there are some other factors that has come in the past few years, generally when you look at the list of awards, most of the time it will be going to a tragic drama film. Have you noticed this? Or do you agree with this? And if you agree, tell me, why do you think it is so? Why do you think so? Reshma said yes and on the message chat box. Why do you think it is so? Why this tragedy is always having a preeminence over the other films, other kind of genres, comedy or romance or whatever? If it is a tragic, if it has got a tragic color, a tragic shade, it is winning the award always. Why it is so? I have not gone through all the films, but I have seen at least the Malayalam films, which has won the national award and state awards. In that case, it is, I am certain, because I know those films. But about other language films, Hindi, Bengali, Tamil, there are so many other regional vernacular films are there. If you take the case of those films also, in most of the cases, you think of your own languages, whatever it is, Odia, Gujarati, if it has won an award, in most of the cases you will find it's a tragedy. Why do you think it is so? We can relate to our own experience and appreciate it as audience. Yeah, it's a very good answer. But in comedy also somewhere we can relate. Still, we value tragedy a little more, means a bit more better than comedies. Why do you think it is so? Any answer? And you will find the answer in Aristotelian theory of aesthetics. You will find the answer for this question in the Aristotelian aesthetic theories. So, now I am not going to explain. I am not going to give you an answer all on a sudden. As we proceed with the Aristotelian theories of aesthetics, you will understand why it is happening so. Okay, so we are proceeding with our lecture. We are trying to see what he has written in Poetics, especially about tragedy, and that is very much valid even today. Mohammed says it reaches life lessons. That is all. The answers are makes the tragedy in real life more bearable. It touches us and makes a point, evokes emotions. So I don't know, most of your answers are correct only, but we have to understand how it happens, why it is so. Aristotle examines and evaluates the tragedy and tells us why it is so. And maybe it is not because Aristotle said tragedy is better than comedy that we are giving the awards now. He observed what is happening in tragedy, what is happening in comedy, and how does people experience or people appreciate the tragic drama or comedy. And he wrote down the principles with which it can be evaluated, and that is even valid today. Even when you try to learn literature, when you try to learn literary theories, Aristotelian poetics becomes very important, very significant. When you go for evaluating a film, Aristotelian theories are very significant even today. So that's why we are trying to understand, we are trying to look at his theories. If you look at Aristotelian philosophy, if you try to go through his books, what we understand is he was trying to systematize knowledge in all known areas, whether it is biology, whether it is zoology, whether it is botany, physiology, psychology, meteorology, anything. He wanted to systematize the knowledge about any area that came across him. In the same way, he was also interested in systematizing the knowledge about drama, poetry or art, the art of poetry. And he wanted to provide a framework for all these different subjects which he was discussing. Like many of the Aristotle's other attempts to systematize knowledge about an area, this framework has had a strong influence up to the present day, and was particularly influential during the Renaissance and the early modern European periods. If you learn the history of literature, you will understand that this theory was always, his aesthetic theories were always very influential, especially in the Renaissance period and also in the early modern European periods. The Aristotelian aesthetic theory was very significant.